This week on CheckPoint. Absa accused of bulldozing the rights of legal land occupants.
The owner of the place said we can bury them here. He's the one who said my grandparents can bury whoever they want here.
They were simply treated like squatters. They were all treated the same way as if they'd been shacked while it had moved in the month before. This is CheckPoint, and I'm in Kepile Mabuse. Absa says on its website that it's committed to finding local solutions to uniquely local challenges and that everything they do is focused on adding value. But residents and neighbors of an area nicknamed the Absa Squatter Camp accuse the banking giant of falling short. This report from Health E News.
The road to what's now known as the Absa Squatter Camp northwest of Johannesburg is as potholed as the hearts of the people who were evicted and moved here in December last year.
I think it was around 9:02. Lots and lots of red ants batching in the plots. It was not so nice. It was so bad. I cried that day. I won't forget.
Community leader Jeanette Baleni says the Red Ants eviction squad invaded homes they'd been living in for years.
They started to broke shacks, and first thing they do, they take stuff inside, whatever that they want, whatever they steal actually.
Jeanette was evicted from this property, plot 55 Van Wyk Street, behind Cradlestone Mall on the West Rand. Her grandfather had tenure on the land from the previous owner, and she lived there too, in a brick home.
One of my old grandfathers used to work there for a very long time.
For Blatina and Emily Molautsi, this land was home. Blatina's grandfather is buried here.
This land is like a home for me because my great-father came from Venda, and then since then he was, the way I heard, he was still young, and then he never went back. And then he stayed here, and then they got children like 12. And then that was my mother's mother. And then they stayed there, and my mother was born here also. Everybody was born here.
In 2014, the property was sold, and residents heard it was going to be developed into upmarket housing and commercial buildings.
We complained because we heard that the place it's on sale, and then we don't know the owner, and it is under Absa. That's how we heard it.
It was bought by Blue Age Properties 60, a subsidiary of Absa Bank, for 22.8 million rand. In 2016, residents were served with eviction orders. In a panic, Jeanette and other permanent residents went to see their Mogale City Ward Councillor, Molefi Sibilo.
We make it our way to Mogale City to Mr. Molefi, our councillor, Ward 23, that there is this letter that we got, and then what is exactly, everyone started to be afraid, shaking that we're going to lose our place.
The eviction orders stated that those on the property were occupying the land illegally. Human rights lawyer Tracy Lomax says that was based on a flawed premise.
The application to evict these people made no reference to them being descendants of farm workers or anything of that nature. They were simply treated like squatters. They were all treated the same way as if they'd been shacked while it had moved in the month before.
Absa's communications head, Songezo Zibi, says they had no idea residents were legally occupying the land.
If the information that is existing now is that there are people who should have been considered, I think what we need to go back into is the court proceedings to see if the interests of those people were accurately presented at the time.
That is something I think Blue Age is going to have to deal with.
I do think they misled the court.
In terms of the court order, Mogale City would relocate the residents. Councillor Molefi Sibilo says they worked with Absa to find a solution.
Absa have been very cooperative because they agree that we should try to find an alternative.
Jeanette says they trusted Councillor Molefi to come up with a proper alternative for those who had lived on the land behind Cradlestone Mall.
All the promises of us having a proper stand, and then even if they are not building for us, you can be able to build for yourself. We're going to have water, electricity, all the necessity.
Jeanette recorded one of their meetings with Mogale City Infrastructure Officer Tsepiso Ndlovu, who promised delivery.
On your left hand side. Yeah, those things
We asked Councillor Molefi about the meeting.
I don't know who promised them that.
They all say it was you, all of them.
No, they are talking a lie.
Absa bought land near Mulder's Drift to relocate the people who were to be evicted.
After purchasing that land, they transferred to the municipality.
Jeanette says they were told they'd be shown the new location.
The point that they made, they're going to come back to us and take some of us to go and see the place where they are taking us to. But that never happened.
Jeanette and 33 other permanent residents found themselves a lawyer and were told there would be no forced removals.
My clients were told up until an hour before the move that they were not being evicted. Up until an hour before the trucks arrived, they were told, no, it's just the shack dwellers. You safe here, we'll be moving you later. They were lied to. And we don't know why.
On the 4th of December last year, the Red Ants arrived, hired by Absa. Some residents like Alfred Mabunda and Clayton Kamurai, who'd been renting for 10 years, were at work.
Somebody phoned me. He said, hey, where are you? I said, I'm at work. I'm on duty. He said, it's happening here. People, they're moving, the Red Ants, they're moving stuff from the houses. And I mean, I'm on shift. I phoned someone just to go there to have a check for me. Then reality, it was came out say, hey, it's happening.
To our surprise, these guys, they impounded on us actually. They didn't even give us time to pack our stuff or all that thing. I was called from work.
When I knocked off after 3, I found my stuff was outside.
They came in, they were in a hurry to do it.
Who was in a hurry?
At Absa, in terms of doing relocation. I think on that one, I agree that at least a proper arrangement should have been done on time.
The authority, in terms of the court order, that has the responsibility to relocate people, have a relocation plan, have an alternative site on which the people are to be settled, is the Mogale City Municipality. If they're telling you that we have that responsibility, they must explain to you why the court order is different. What we know is that over the years, the Mogale City Municipality has just not been able to follow on its legal obligations, have not been able to do that.
Councillor Molefi, acting as the go-between, said they gave Absa advice.
Those who have been living in the brick house, if they are South Africans, because this is their country, try to see that you accommodate them. I think that's what we mentioned. But now the challenge was that what we have there is smaller than where the people residing. I think that's where the challenge came in.
There were only 2 brick structures on the new property for 33 people. Alfred and Clayton had to hustle for shelter.
They showed me a garage that it doesn't have a door. To close my stuff behind people, they mustn't see what is inside. I used my wardrobe and a base and mattress just to close. They mustn't see what is inside. Then I went to work checking my stuff. I didn't sleep there because I went to one of my friends just to help me to sleep in. I can't sleep in the open garage.
Alfred lost everything in a matter of days.
Few days after, everything was out. The garage was clean. No any sign there was something there. The garage was clean. My stuff was stolen.
And someone else was allocated his space.
So I don't have a place to stay now.
There was no toilets, no water. A lot of people, they spent about 3 days sleeping on an open space. And the other night, it was raining, you understand? And people were sleeping outside. And those guys, they didn't even care, they didn't even mind.
No, but it is not true. Nobody has come to me to say that I have this kind of problem. Nobody. If that happened, I think it was not proper.
The site where Jeanette lived for so many years is now ground zero. Emily and Blattina's home was also smashed to bits. They are worried about family graves that date back 50 years.
The owner of the place said we can bury them here. He's the one who said my grandparents can bury whoever they want here. My brother is here, my cousins are here.
That owner is deceased, and the new owner, Absa, says they are willing to engage.
We understand the traditional and spiritual issues involved. We would never bulldoze graves and build upon them. The law does provide a process in which graves are appropriately relocated to a mutually agreed area.
After the break, a child dies at the Absa Squatter Camp.
Apparently there was something like a wire on the ground, and it went straight to the neck and came out at the back of the neck.
I saw that he died on the scene. That's what I saw.